I'm John Kormanik. I am the CEO and head coach at John R. Kormanik Coaching. And today I am here to talk about a growth mindset and how having a growth mindset can positively impact your leadership, your communication ability, and perhaps most importantly, your law firm's bottom line. It's great to be here. Let's get right into it. Again, this is my typical 25 minutes. You'll be in, you'll be out on time. We will talk about growth mindset. You'll have some questions to answer for yourself, and you'll have an opportunity to understand how to add to your growth mindset. What is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is the understanding that your basic qualities are the things that you can cultivate through your efforts, your strategies, and help from others. Again, this is Carol Dweck. She wrote a fantastic book about mindset. Pick it up if you haven't read it. It's life changing. Your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts, your strategies, and help from others. That, my friends, is the definition of a growth mindset. It's the understanding that underlies the growth mindset or a growth mindset. Let's talk about some difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset, specifically for law firm owners who are in leadership positions, because that's who I coach, right? Founders and law firm owners. So that's what we're going to really focus in on today. This is helpful for everybody. You can change the words here to suit your situation. So for a fixed mindset, the leader believes that leadership ability is a fixed trait. You either are a leader or you're not. And if you're not, you can never become a leader. We're going to get to a quote a little bit later on from somebody who I really admire, who begs to differ with that. For a growth mindset individual, a way to look at it from a growth mindset perspective is leadership capacity and skills can be developed, just like anything else. Look, you're lawyers. You did not always know how to practice law. And when you first graduated law school, you did not know how to practice law effectively. When you first started your law firm, you did not know how to run a business. These things are all true, but we forget about them, right? Now you do. You know how to practice law. You know how to do it effectively. You know how to do it at a really high level, and you know how to run your business. Leadership is no different. Capacity and skills can be developed over time. For a fixed mindset people avoid challenges because they want to stay where they are. They want to be perceived as successful. And so they want to maintain their current status. Hey, it's good enough. It's fine. Where I am is fine. That's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset welcomes challenges to sharpen their skill set. Here's a challenge. Is it above maybe 5% above my current skill set? I'm going to dive in because I know it's going to make me better. A fixed mindset person equates self worth with immediate results. If I'm successful, then I'm valuable. If I'm not successful, then I'm not valuable. For a growth mindset, it sees effort as an investment in building a self sustaining business. Is the thing I'm doing today, for example, networking, is networking going to pay immediate dividends? 99 times out of 100, the answer to that question is no. Is it still valuable? Absolutely. Another way that the fixed mindset operates is they resist feedback or see it as a threat, right? Feedback is resisted or is a threat. It's challenging. It's questioning our ability. It's demeaning. Insert your adverb here. Think about the soundtrack that plays in your mind when receiving feedback, or do you not invite it? Do you not invite feedback? Do you avoid it? Right? For a growth mindset, us growth mindset folks use feedback as fuel for improvement. I will ask you at the end of this, whenever you are watching this, to please drop me a note, drop me a DM, whatever platform you're watching it on, shoot me an email, and let me know how I can improve, because I know that your input is invaluable. I can think that I'm doing a good job, or I can think that I did a terrible job, and neither one of those are necessarily true. So, when you have a growth mindset, feedback is fuel for improvement. Finally, people with a fixed mindset really feel threatened by other people's success. They compare themselves to others, and if others are more successful for them, apparently more successful for them, and I'll talk about that in just a second, appear to be more successful than they are, then they're challenged by that, right? For a growth mindset person, we draw inspiration from peers and competitors who are killing it. I love it when I see somebody in the space that I operate in. You'll notice my words there. Somebody in the space that I operate in be successful. I love that for them. And I love it for me because I look at them and I think, oh, huh, great. They are killing it. Am I operating at the level that I need to be operating on for them to look at me and think that I'm doing the same? There's a word in here in that last thing, right? Draws inspiration from peers and competitors. There is no one on the planet who is my competitor. Period. Full stop. I coach law firm founders who are in family law, real estate, um, personal injury, all varied areas. I coach across the spectrum. And I coach them all the time that they don't have competitors. And here's why: because no one can do what they do, how they do it. That's just the truth. There are 8.5 billion people on the planet, and each one of us is one of one. That is just how it is. And so, competitors, I don't like the word, it's in there. I get it. I draw inspiration from my peers. So, why a growth mindset matters to you? First and foremost, you are building a company, not merely a law practice, right? If you are watching this and you're a founder or you're a partner at a law firm, you are building a company, not just a law practice. A law practice in 2025, at least, is table stakes. It's the price of admission for having a law firm. Building that company into something important, something that will outlast you. That is where you want to go. And that's why a growth mindset matters. Three ways: it accelerates delegation and trust in your team because you're not going to run away from failure. You're going to understand that each time we fall short of the goal, we learn. And so when we delegate and trust the team from that perspective, we truly delegate more. And quite honestly, we delegate the things we ought to be delegating. Now, I want to be super clear, and I say this frequently. If you've seen other videos of mine, you know this. Delegation is not abdication. There is a difference between the two. Delegation is a specific way of allowing someone else to do tasks that you would ordinarily do in a way that they are ultimately set up for success. Will they fall short? Yes, they're human. Do we fall short? Yes, we're human, right? But delegation and trust in your team is accelerated when we have a growth mindset for obvious reasons. We don't fear failure, and we understand that coming up short provides opportunity to learn. Number two, strategic innovation for pretty much the same reasons, right? If we are happy, that's not the right word. If we are satisfied where we are, it's good enough. We're not going to innovate. And when we don't innovate, we get bored, number one. Number two, when we don't innovate, we get left behind, right? There's all this talk out there in the world about AI and how AI is going to replace lawyers. I had a conversation with a client yesterday about this, and his response was, AI is not going to replace me because nobody can stand up in front of a jury and do the things that I do. Nobody can take that high level strategic view of a contract as I do. AI is a tool to help us, and that is true. Those who are not strategically innovating today are going to be left behind, period, full stop. You, if it's good enough, it's not good enough, or it won't be tomorrow. It reminds me of a story I heard, or a way of thinking that Rick Rubin, the music producer, has. He talks about how, as human beings, we are generally lazy people. He doesn't mean it in a bad way. He's not judging. He just says, that's just his view of the world. We're generally lazy. And I would submit to you that look at any retired pro athlete and you can see the results of that laziness, right? Because they don't have to work out all the time. They don't have to watch what they eat, all those things. So Rick Rubin talks about, we have a problem. We have a pain point. We have what I call a thorn in our side. And we get to a solution where the thorn is removed. We just stay there because we're not in pain anymore. That doesn't mean the solution has been optimized. It just means that it's good enough. When we have a growth mindset, good enough isn't good enough. It's what can I try next? How can I level up next? What's another way I can improve in this space? From leadership or communication or market, whatever it is, right? Having a growth mindset promotes and accelerates strategic innovation. The final way that growth, the final thing that growth mindset accelerates is sustained profitability because of the first two things: delegation and trust in your team and strategic innovation. You get to sustainable profitability. I have a client. He's an awesome PI attorney on the East Coast. And he said, John, I was at a roundtable talking with other PI clients or PI practitioners, and someone was telling me their story. And my client recognizes it's just a story, right? And the story wasn't his or the other person's origin story or the story of how he started his practice. It was a story about a roadblock that he was encountering. And my client listened very patiently. And when the other person was done, he looked at them. This is what he related to me. He looked at them and said, couple things here. Number one, I appreciate that that's your story, but it's not reality. Number two, you are the roadblock. You are the issue. You're the thing that's getting in the way. Change the story in your head, operate at a different level, and your law firm will be better for it. And my client knows this because I took him through that same stuff. We've been working together for a few years now. And I took him through that same stuff. How are you getting in the way? What story are you telling yourself? When we have a growth mindset, we know that we're telling ourselves a story, and we know that delegation is critical, and we know that failure is ever present, even in the legal world. Failure is not fatal. I'm here to tell you it's not fatal. Failure happens. Coming short of the goal happens. What do we learn from that so next time we get closer to the goal or we exceed the goal? So, three things that growth mindset accelerates: delegation and trust in your team, strategic innovation, and sustainable profitability. Here's the founder's evolutionary framework. If you have founded a law firm, whether it's you started as a true solo, or like me, you started with a couple of partners, we really start out as lawyers. That's the thing that we need to get right. Sure, I was a 10-year lawyer when I started my firm. Many of you might be seasoned attorneys, but it's different. You're operating in a different space in a different way. So number one, you're a lawyer, and especially if you're a true solo, you start out as a true solo, which many of my clients have. Then you're a leader. So what happens is you bring other people on because you know that operating as a true solo, and there's nothing wrong with operating as a true solo. If that's your game, knock it out of the park. Just knock it out of the damn park, please. Many, though, go from solo or small partnership to a larger team. Makes total sense. It's what we grow into, right? It's the premise of buy back your time. Dan Martell's book, I believe. It's the premise of a whole bunch of theory out there. We then hire people to do things that we ought not be doing. I've done the same in my business. We become a leader. And then the transition is to CEO. What does a CEO have that a lawyer doesn't? Typically, a growth mindset. What does a CEO have that a leader is trying to cultivate? Typically, a growth mindset. This is the evolution. This is the framework. These are the steps. These are the seasons. Lawyer, leader, CEO. There are three catalysts. If you take away a nugget today, this is a nugget I want you to take. There are three catalysts for cultivating a growth mindset. Catalyst number one is reframe. Reframe setbacks as data. Before hopping on this and presenting, I got a text message from a client. Things in his firm are challenging right now. He's got a satellite office. The satellite office wasn't performing up to his expectations. The question that I asked him in the text, well, first I said, God, that's hard. I get it. It's a challenging place to be. The second question I asked was, what's the opportunity? What's the opportunity you have here to learn, to make your office function better? What's the opportunity? So setbacks are data. This isn't working. Here are the things that I'm doing. Why isn't it working? What can I change? What lever can I pull? So that's catalyst number one, reframe setbacks as data. Catalyst number two, seek. Seek discomfort by design. If everything is fine, I'm here to tell you that you are not placed on this planet to be fine. All human beings are put on this planet to do extraordinary things. You have the opportunity to do extraordinary things. You have to be uncomfortable. You just have to be uncomfortable. And if you're not uncomfortable, you need to seek out opportunities to make yourself uncomfortable. Stretch yourself, whether it's that 5% to increase your skill set and your focus, whether it's stepping into um, a new hobby, whether it's having a challenging conversation. Seek discomfort by design. So that's catalyst number two. Catalyst number three, invest in self leadership. Here's the deal. Tom Landry said it the best. A coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who helps you see what you don't want to see, so that you have the potential to become everything that you could possibly become. Self leadership is where it's at. We talk about frequently the focus of leadership being on others. We forget about ourselves. We have to lead ourselves first, and then we can lead others. We're outstanding. Our leadership of others is outstanding. I'm here to tell you if our leadership of ourselves is not great, our leadership of others can't be. So, the three catalysts for cultivating a growth mindset: reframe setbacks as data, seek discomfort by design, invest in self leadership. One client story. As you know, if you know me, and if you don't know me, hey, it's great to meet you. I coach world-class lawyers the world over. I coach attorneys all over the world, people who are trained in the law. I don't coach them in the law. I coach them in performance and leadership, the things that we're talking about today, a growth mindset. What's the opportunity here? Yeah, things didn't work out. What's the opportunity? So, my client went from playing it safe to leading with confidence, in short, right? Before coaching, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. They often approach challenges by anticipating problems. Now, anticipating problems is not a bad thing. This could happen, this could happen, this can happen. All that's good. But the problem seeking was exhausting them because when they got to the end, they didn't recognize it was the end and they would continue to seek, right? Anticipate problems that had a 0.1 chance of happening, right? Really not going to happen, but it was a sticking point. And so they would over prepare. They would over prepare everything, everything. I am a big fan of preparation. Don't get me wrong. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Preparation is critical. Over preparing is paralyzing. And my client had a limited willingness to take reasonable risks. There's a potential hire out there. Well, it's not the time. That was their response. This area of business is out there and it needs serving and it aligns with your core values. Yeah, it's too uncomfortable. Okay, all that is fine. I don't get to make the decisions. I get to hold up the mirror. So they were unwilling to take reasonable risks. I am not an an overly risk taking person, right? I've got a longboard skateboard in my closet that I bought that I thought I was going to ride, and I'm like, well, maybe that's too risky for you, right? I have done risky things. I've not bungee jumped out of a hot air balloon. I have skydived. I've done Ironman triathlons. I've swum great distances in open water, but those are reasonable risks. My client before coaching was unwilling to take reasonable risk. After coaching, now I don't even have to ask them to reframe. Now it's they come to me where things have fallen short and they will say, and this is what we've learned. It's just a natural part of their thinking. And I know it's a natural part of their thinking because it's a natural part of our conversation. So they've reframed obstacles into growth opportunities. They embrace experimentation, not crazy, but they embrace experimentation and they're leaning into leadership. It's not that I'm a great lawyer, I can't lead. It's not that. It's I'm a great lawyer and I'm a developing leader. That's a client story. If you want to hear more, ping me. Happy to share. Here's a self assessment as we begin to circle the airport to come in for a landing. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being I am fully aligned with the statement. 1 being I'm in a different zip code. I welcome feedback even when it challenges me. Do you invite it? That's even better than welcoming. I see failure as a step towards mastery. I don't fail, I learn. Do I come up short? Absolutely. Do I come up short? Absolutely. Do I try to learn every time I come up short? Yes. I delegate to develop others, not just to unload work. I'm delegating to Sue because I see she has potential and I want to develop her and help her on her pathway towards mastery of something. Again, a scale of 1 to 5. I invest in learning outside my comfort zone. Are there things that I'm uncomfortable learning? Lean into that. Number 5, I believe my potential is still expanding. I believe your potential is still expanding. I believe my potential is still expanding. I believe our potential continues to expand until we take our last breath. If you've missed any of these or you want to think about them, you can ping me. I'm happy to share them. Go back and watch the recording on my YouTube channel. What's one fixed mindset habit you'll replace before year's end? One thing that you identify as a fixed mindset habit that you want to change. If you need help with this, please message me. I'm happy to have an email exchange, maybe even hop on a call. Here's the person I was talking about, General Colin Powell. When I was on that fixed versus growth mindset, and we talked about a fixed mindset is my leadership ability is fixed. It's just not so. Colin Powell says effective leaders are made, not born. If anybody knows, that guy knows. They learn from trial and error, from experience. They learn from mentors. They learn from coaching. They learn from reading. They learn from the school of hard knocks. They learn from failure. Effective leaders are made, not born. We're at the end. If you're a law firm founder ready to elevate your leadership so your firm never outgrows your mindset, reach out. I'd love to have a conversation about working together. You can find me on all my socials. You can email me at john@johnrkormanik.com. Thank you so much. I will see you next month. Be well.